The dusty winds of the Wild West howled through the cracked windows of the old saloon in the forgotten town of Rattlesnake Ridge, where the sun beat down mercilessly on the parched earth and the only law was the strength of a man's grip on his revolver. But tonight, under the flickering lantern light, something far more primal was about to unfold as Jake the Giant Harlan, a towering cowboy standing at 6'8", with muscles forged from years of wrangling wild stallions and breaking broncos, strode in with his boots thumping against the wooden floor like thunderclaps, his presence commanding the room instantly, his broad shoulders straining against a worn leather vest that barely contained his massive frame, and his piercing blue eyes scanning the dim interior until they locked onto the two identical beauties huddled in the corner booth. Lily and Rose, the virgin twins who had just turned 21, fresh off the stagecoach from the east, their porcelain skin glowing under the soft light, their long auburn hair cascading in waves down their backs, dressed in matching white lace dresses that hugged their slender curves innocently, unaware of the storm they were about to invite into their lives, for Jake had heard whispers of their arrival. Two untouched sisters seeking fortune in this god-forsaken land, and he knew right then that he would claim them both, ordering them to take turns on his legendary 12 inches that had become the stuff of saloon legends, a beast of a manhood that no woman could forget. And tonight, he would make them share him all night long in a ritual of dominance and surrender that would shatter their innocence and bind them to his will forever. The twins, orphaned young and raised in a strict convent back east, had dreamed of adventure, but nothing prepared them for the giant cowboy who approached their table with a predatory grin, his deep voice rumbling like distant thunder as he said, "Evening, ladies. Name's Jake Harlan. And I reckon you two are the prettiest things to grace this dust bowl in years. Mind if I join you?" And before they could protest, he slid into the booth, his massive thigh brushing against Lily's leg, sending an electric shiver up her spine, while Rose blushed furiously, her green eyes wide with a mix of fear and curiosity, for they had never been this close to a man, let alone one so imposing, his scent of leather and sweat intoxicating. And as he ordered a round of whiskey, he leaned in close, whispering, "I hear you gals are pure as driven snow. Well, snow melts under heat, and darlings, I'm the fire that's going to turn you to steam," his words dripping with raw intent, making their hearts race as they sipped their drinks nervously, the alcohol warming their bellies and loosening their inhibitions just enough for Jake to weave his spell, telling tales of his exploits on the range, how he'd tamed wild herds and outdrawn outlaws, but all the while his hand casually rested on Lily's knee under the table, inching higher, her breath catching as she felt the calloused strength of his fingers, while Rose watched, transfixed, a forbidden heat building between her thighs at the sight. And soon enough, Jake's voice dropped lower, commanding, "Finish your drinks, girls. We're heading upstairs to my room, and you're gonna learn what it means to share a real man," his tone brooking no argument. The twins exchanging a glance of hesitant excitement, their virgin bodies tingling with anticipation and dread, for they knew they were stepping into the unknown. But the giant cowboy's aura was irresistible, pulling them like moths to a flame. As they ascended the creaky stairs, Jake's large hands guiding them by the small of their backs, the door to his room clicked shut behind them, sealing their fate in the dimly lit space dominated by a king-sized bed draped in rough blankets, the air thick with the promise of passion, and without a word, Jake shrugged off his vest, revealing a chiseled chest dusted with dark hair, his biceps flexing as he unbuckled his belt, the twins frozen in place, their eyes widening at the bulge straining against his jeans. And he chuckled deeply. "Don't be shy now. Strip for me. Both of you, nice and slow. Let me see what I'm working with," his order hanging in the air like a challenge, Lily's fingers trembling as she reached for the buttons of her dress, Rose following suit, their lace garments pooling at their feet to reveal perfect, untouched bodies, pert breasts heaving with nervous breaths, smooth stomachs leading to the soft curls between their legs, Jake's gaze devouring them hungrily as he dropped his pants, unleashing his 12-inch monster, thick and veined, throbbing with need, the sight making the twins gasp in unison, Lily whispering, "It's so big," and Rose adding, "Can we?" But Jake stepped forward, his height dwarfing them, grasping their chins gently yet firmly, tilting their faces up to meet his eyes. "You can and you will. Take turns. Like good girls, starting with your mouths. Get me nice and wet for what's coming." And he guided Lily to her knees first, her lips parting tentatively as she wrapped them around the massive head, the salty taste overwhelming her senses, her tongue swirling instinctively as Jake groaned, his hand in her hair directing the pace while Rose watched, her hand drifting between her own thighs, rubbing softly at the ache building there, the scene unfolding like a forbidden dream. Jake's voice praising, "That's it, darling. Suck it deep, now switch, let your sister have a taste," pulling Lily off with a pop and pushing Rose down, her mouth stretching wide to accommodate him. Gagging slightly at first, but eager to please, the twins alternating under his command, their saliva coating his length, the room filling with wet sounds and heavy breaths. Jake's control absolute as he orchestrated their initiation, building the tension until he couldn't wait any longer, lifting them both effortlessly onto the bed, positioning Lily on her back with legs spread, Rose beside her watching intently, and he aligned himself with Lily's virgin entrance, whispering, "This might hurt at first, but you'll beg for more soon enough," pushing in slowly, inch by inch, her tight walls stretching around his girth, a sharp cry escaping her lips as he broke through her barrier, blood mixing with her arousal, but the pain quickly morphing into pleasure as he thrust deeper, filling her completely, Rose's fingers circling her own clit as she witnessed her twins deflowering, Jake's hips pumping rhythmically, grunting, "So tight, so perfect, now you, Rose. Get ready to take your turn," pulling out slick and shiny, flipping the sisters so Rose was beneath him, entering her with the same deliberate force, her moans echoing Lily's, the giant cowboy alternating between them, ordering them to kiss each other while he claimed their bodies, their tongues entwining in a haze of lust, hands exploring one another's breasts, the night stretching into an endless cycle of positions and commands, Jake bending them over the bed to take them from behind, their asses high as he pounded relentlessly, spanking their pale skin to rosy hues, making them cry out his name, then having them ride him one at a time, bouncing on his 12 inches while the other straddled his face, his tongue delving into their folds, lapping at their sweetness, the twins' orgasms crashing over them in waves, squirting for the first time under his expert dominance, begging for more even as exhaustion set in, Jake's stamina unending, flipping them into a 69 position with him joining in, thrusting into one while the other licked his balls, the air thick with the scent of sex, sweat dripping from their bodies. Until finally, as dawn crept through the curtains, Jake roared his release, pulling out to paint their faces and breasts with thick ropes of cum, marking them as his, the twins collapsing in a tangle of limbs, utterly spent and transformed, whispering their devotion to the giant cowboy who had ordered them to share him all night, a bond forged in fire that would keep them by his side forever in the wild frontier. And as the story comes to a close, remember folks, if you love this tale of passion and power, hit that subscribe button right now for more sizzling stories straight from the heart of the West. Don't miss out on the next adventure. Subscribe today and join the ride.